So thanks, Alex. So basically, today we are going to discuss about a few of the agenda that we have today. So we will discuss about what exactly the Salesforce Composite Connector is. Then we will go through some of the major operation that Salesforce Composite Connector provide. One of them is like S object tree, and then we'll go. Then other is like S object collection. And we will go with a briefly without batch and then execute complete request operation. So we will discuss briefly about that. What does this operation do and where we have to use that. And next thing, I will go with the demo with using the AnyPoint connector, connecting to the Salesforce, using the operation composite request operation. I will show that is like how we can upsert the data using the composite request in one single go. Then we will going to discuss about the advantages of using composite request with a composite connector that we will provide. And next we will go with the question and answer. So about me, as Alex said, that my name is Rajiv Misra. So currently I am working in Cognizant Technology Solution and as an associate projects. So overall, I have like 9 years of experience in the integration platform. So from last 5 years, I have been using Mule. So I have worked in 3.6 version, 3.9. So I'm doing some POC with the Mule 4 version as well. So I have some certificate for the Mule that the one that Mule provided, the MCD certificate. So I have done that. So yeah, so let's let's go with the composite connector. So what exactly the composite connector is? So basically, as I think we all are already aware that Mule provides some deep support for interacting with Salesforce clouds, including the connectors and the templates, as well as means like to face the session or to query the data. So we know that means like few of the things that Salesforce provide. But there are few things are there that we might be not aware of, that Salesforce actually exposes the many different API that actually Mule connectors has leveraged for this integration. Many of you may be familiar with the real time is like how the bulk or streaming integration patterns that Salesforce support is like how it is work. So one of the connector is the composite that Mule provides us to integrate to Salesforce. So this discover the AnyPoint connector for Salesforce Composite provides. So it's like a way to integrate with the Salesforce Composite API, which enables Mule to use a single API call to access several individual Salesforce services. So basically, the thing, what does it mean actually? So suppose, for example, we have like a different type of object present in the Salesforce. Say, for example, we have account or we have contact, and all have the relationship with each other. So what does this composite do actually? So we can in the single go, we can create a single request, and using the single API call, we can call the Salesforce, and Salesforce can provide us the one single response in one particular hit from the Mule. So other than that, it's the connector exposes convenient methods for preparing sub requests, execute them in one batch, and parse the results. As I said, means like we can create a one sub request. Suppose, for example, we have an account that has a dependency with the contact, or we have the policy or quote or whatever the object that have, but the main parent object is account that has a relationship. So we can create a single request with using the account. We can have the reference of that account with the policy or contact. We can create a single request, and you can pass the request, and we can send it to Salesforce. So that is I'm going to show you how we can do that actually. And other thing regarding the response actually, so response body, so it's a slight difference, the response that you have if you have used the connector with the basic authentication. You can see means like Salesforce provide like the status like the success, failure, as well as means like some ID there it's provided in the using the Salesforce basic authentication. But when you are using the composite connectors, what it will do, it will provide a single response body for which for all of the object actually, and it will have the relationship between the account and the contact, whatever object it is there actually. So whatever request we are sending it to the Salesforce. So this one also I will go through that how we can achieve that. And other thing is the entire series of requests count as a single call toward your API limits. So thing is like nothing comes free actually. It's like in this world actually. So there are some limits are there. Means like how many times you can hit the service actually. So it comes with the cost. It comes with the performance and all. So there is some limits. API limits are there. So this is also playing in the Salesforce as well. It's like in one particular day or one particular that Salesforce cloud, that how much how much per request can take per day or per month, something like that. So it's reduces that number of counts actually. So if we can achieve that in using the complete request, we can, it's like we can reduce the number of API hits in the Salesforce. And yeah, so other thing is like the request is in a complete call or sub request, and all sub requests are executed in the context of the same user. So these two points, I will come back to this thing when I will show the demo. Means like what exactly means, like what exactly we mean with that. So once I will show the request, you will able to understand that. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So I will just briefly describe about them. It's like a few of the major operation that is present in the Salesforce. So one of them is the S object tree. So this is the one particular operation that is we have the leverage of in the complete connector. We can use that. So basically, the N of S object tree is a collection of nested parent-child records with a single root record. So if you see the screenshot, that is the request that I have provided here. So we have a records that is the parent elements. Within the records, we have the attributes like the account, and then we have given the reference ID. So we can create the records like this if for the S object tree, and the number of the records that is maximum number of records we can use in the request for this S object tree operation is 200 records. And apart from that, for the S object tree, in the response, we have the field call with the element call, the way which Salesforce provide, that is has errors. So has errors fields indicate means like if the response has been successful or is the response has been failure. So it will indicate with the Boolean field that is a true and false. And in that case, we can understand, say, yeah, this particular request that we have sent is success one or it has been a failure one. So that is a brief description of the S object tree. So next one is the S object collection. That is another operation that we can use. So for S object collection is like it's execute action on multiple records of object in one request. So basically, what does it mean is so if you see in the screenshot that I have provided here, the records. So we have the parent records, and we have that attributes type we have given the object type like account, and within that we have the external field ID defined as the EID_C_1. And for the one particular account, we have that broker one, and the other one has the broker two. So this is similar to S object tree, but there are few differences are there. So I will within the it's like the one I will show the demo is we'll able to understand is like when actually we have to use that and when we have to use the S object collection. So for this S object collection as well means like we can have like maximum of 200 objects can process in one go. So suppose this is the only two requests is there, right? So two different account is there that is related. So we can have multiple like more 198. So we can just hit it and we can get it, grab the response in one single go, in the one single go to the Salesforce. And if you see this, there is a other field is called all or none. So basically, in the request, we don't have to define this one. So with in the Mule connector that Mule provide, that is a composite connector. So we have that that checkbox, that parameter is there defined there, all or none. So usually the functionality is like suppose for example, we got an error in the broker 2, means like we are not able to insert the data into for the account 2. So what will happen if it is all or none is checkbox is true, then in that case a whole transaction will roll back actually. And if it is false, then in that case only those transactions which have failed, so only those transactions it will show the failure response from the Salesforce. So so that is for the S object collection. Next one is for batch. So batch is slightly different in respect to S object collection and S object tree. So it is like it allows up to 25 separate unrelated action to be executed in the single call. So maximum number of object it can support is 25, but it has a different means like it can support with a single call with a different unrelated action. So if you see like for particular one particular object, I have the account and this EID is defined as IAZ, and for other one we have a different EID. So basically the thing is like it will support 25 separate unrelated action, means like in the one particular request, and it can process in a single go for the batch operation. And so there is other thing is like where if you want to roll back the whole transaction, or if you want to means like process few of the transaction, and few of the transaction should be processed if it is get error out. So we don't want to roll back all the whole transaction, so we can use the halt on error field. That is also a parameter that is provided in the complete connector. So we can just checkbox that particular parameter, and we can have defined means like what is our rollback strategies we want in for the request. So yeah, that is for the batch. Next one is the composite. That is what I am going to means like I have created a request in the any point. I will send it to Salesforce. I will show you means like how we can do that. So basically for the composite request, if you see like so we in the subsequent request, means it's the output of one request can be used as the input to a subsequent request, and sequentially execute a series of actions in a single go. So maximum it can support 25 objects, and all or none parameter that is there means like it is for the rollback behavior, means like if we want to have a rollback whole transaction, or if you want to have a particular transaction or particular object should be processed successfully and to Salesforce, or means like we want that, so we can use that all or none parameter in the there. So basically the thing is for the complete what is difference between here actually. So suppose for example we have the account have a dependency with the contact that we have created here. So on the basis of the reference ID, so reference ID is ref account, I have given their ref account, and then have the reference ID for the contact as well. So, but the EID, if you see, both are the same. So each have a dependency with each other actually. So so one thing we have to means like make sure means the reference ID should be unique. So how we are going to achieve that? So if you see that I have used the account object with the get method, and the reference ID I have given that ref account get info, and this particular ID that we are getting it from the Salesforce, I am passing through the @ and uh, in the contact object with the account ID, that is new account info.id. So it has the dependency with this account with the contact actually. So this is how we can achieve that. For you can use the composite execute composite request. So, so yeah, so that's just a brief description about the major operation that we can use in the composite. So now the question arises like most, I think all of you are thinking like, what is the most appropriate ways, means like to use, in which particular cases we are going to use that. So consider, means like, so what I will say means consider the relationship within the data actually. So in case, suppose for example, if we are creating a hierarchy of related records, in that case, we can use the S object tree. That will means like simplify our flow processing significantly. For in case we are means like creating a hierarchy of the related records actually. So in that case, I will suggest means like we can go through the S object tree, and suppose this calls that we are doing actually for the request, that is all are unrelated but of the same object or action actually. So in that case, we can go through, we can have a we can use the operation S object collection. That will the best way, means like within the means that is the best way that for this particular request that we have for the user cases that we have. So in case suppose we have a very small number of means like unrelated call, means like we have we so there's not much object present, means like it's a very less data, means like on the you are expecting a data like everyday transaction like 100 or 100k or 200k, something like that. So in that case you can go with the batch if it is a smaller number. And in case if you need some, it's like there's a dependency with the one object with the other object, if in that case you can use the composite execute composite operation. So so yeah, so that is the brief description, means like when to use which operation. So let's go with the demo. So basically let me open that. Yeah. So for this particular demo, I'm using the version Anypoint version as 6.3.0, and the runtime version of Mule that I'm using is 3.9.1. And yeah, means like in the Mule palette, what you can do, you can just simply go and you can search with the Salesforce Composite, and you can find it. In case it is not present in the Mule palette, what you can do, you can just download it from the Exchange that Anypoint provide actually. So you can download and we can use this connector. So next, that is how we can use that composite connector. So now the configuration part. So we have, so it's a slightly difference that we have used the regular, means like if we have used the regular, means like the basic authentication thing, Salesforce connector. So it has slight difference with this connection connectivity actually. So we have the username, we have to mention the username, password, and consumer secret is a common, is that we have used in the basic authentication when we are calling the single go to Salesforce. So other additional part that we have to use, that is a consumer key, the token endpoint, and other thing is like consumer secret. So those all things that will be provided by the Salesforce in the cloud, means like whoever exposing the services in the for you, means like in the Salesforce. So those things are present there. So there you have to ask them to provide these details. So so that we can so those are the mandatory parameters for the composite. So we have to require these things. So for the consumer key, the consumer secret, the security token, the token end. So token endpoint is basically is the it remains the same actually. So it's basically the token endpoint is login.salesforce.com, and then in the resource part we have like services /o2/token. So that is a token endpoint. So it's most of the time it is the same actually. So we have to define that. So that is the configuration that we have to do for the Salesforce composite. next, let's go with the data. Means like, so if I open the SOAP UI, yeah. So this is the request that I have created. So let me log in into Salesforce as well. So yeah, Miss. So I have created a one account in the Salesforce. It's free actually, so you can everyone can create it actually. So I created one account. I have account name is Rajiv, and then means I have defined the EID, the external field ID, that using the in the Salesforce console actually. So there is account name Rajiv, and I don't have anything right now. So basically, what I am going to achieve here is like it is a simple request. So I have one account, Rajiv, and then see this account is dependency with the contact. So if you see, means like how I am doing that. So in the body, so you have to mention the URL as well. So if you see that there is a method I have defined the path, so we have to use for the execute composite operation that we are going to use. So execute complete request that I'm going to use. So I'm missing the method, the patch, and providing the URL. That also that Salesforce team is going to provide you that. But yeah, means like the EID and the C that is right now. I means like I made a static actually, but those things should be coming from dynamically actually. So I have given the reference ID ref account. One is so this account has a dependency with the contact. So I have provided the contact EID as well, and they've given the reference ID as new account info. And so it's a simple means like it's just an like two object. I am just passing it actually. So it's nothing much actually. So at much we can pass like 25 object in the single go. So just for the demo, means I created a simple JSON request which will observe the data. So coming back to the configuration, so this is a request that I have actually I created for this one. So next thing for the regarding the mule flow. So what I did actually, so we have the HTTP and doing the JSON to object, and then doing some transformation using the data weave, creating the request type as a Salesforce request type, and this is a Salesforce composite connector. So within this composite connector, I am using the operation execute composite request, and right now I have not mentioned means like I have not tick the all or none checkbox. So probably so in my case, in case of my account is getting failed, so but my contact will get success actually. So I'm not doing the rollback strategy right now. So I can show you after that. So it's a simple thing. It's a simple process. Means nothing I have done much. Just created one simple JSON request that will take account and contact in one single go, and it will send it to Salesforce. And then I'm just doing some transformation, that object to JSON, and then just logging to the in the logger actually. So now if I change the email ID to demo dot something like that, let me change that. So just to make sure, means like I'm using the patch method that will observe the data actually, and also insert. If the data is not present, it will insert the data in case. So for inserting some URL will be different actually. So in that case, we don't require an EID. So EID will be a part of the body actually, not in the part of the URL. So I'm using the patch, so it will just observe the data for the Rajiv account. So let me hit it. Yeah. So okay, so I got the response. So if you see the response body, just just see this one, the cursor that I'm using, the response time actually 892 milliseconds. It's within the second actually 892. Now, so we have in the response, we received the response, the HTTP status code is 204. And so for this composite response, what Salesforce do, so all the status means like within 200 to 200 category, it's fall into the success one actually. And everything which is fall under the 400 means it will be the error response actually. So if I go back to the Salesforce, now if I click on this, so it will work. Yeah, let me refresh it. So yeah, so the data has been updated. So if I go to the contact, so it has been updated to the email ID that I have updated actually. So mail.cs. So if I try again, if I change the data to something like demo, last name as demo, and then change like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So if I give this number, so see, the response time is 6 to 7 millisecond. So if I refresh the page, so yeah, so contact name I have changed, so it has become the Rajiv demo, and the phone number also I have changed, so it has updated in the Salesforce. So with the Rajiv account actually. So nothing. So one thing means like. Uh, it will be means like for the transformation it will have some work actually, means like you have to do some heavy lifting in the data view for doing a transformation, but the life will be very much easy if you're using this complete request. And
Hey,
apart
Reggie.
from, yep.
Is there a way that you can make the request a little bit bigger? Some people can't see it. It's too small for the screen.
Oh, I see. What I will do, I will let me copy it. Is it okay?
It's much better.
Yeah. And also, can you show the transform message, like how you have transformed?
The response.
Yeah, while sending it to Salesforce as well, like you have a transform message component, right?
Yeah, so just it's yeah, it's doing the I'm doing the payload actually. So I've created a request actually in the JSON in the Salesforce format only. So basically, what does Mule connector do? So I'm just doing the payload. Means I'm just sending the payload actually, creating the request in the Salesforce format and just sending it actually. So if it can be have the XML. So I have one example here actually. So I will show you after that. So this particular request, I had the XML. So we're doing the transformation there. So for this one, it's like I'm just sending it as a payload, and so basically you can do like this, means like you can, if in case means like if it is XML, so that you can do the transformation and using a database component, and you can write to whatever means like component, whatever means like it's accepted in the Salesforce actually.
Okay,
So
and also the linking of the account and the contact, like so everything happens internally, right?
yeah, internally. So it is taken care of by Mule only. So basically. So ideally, if you are directly hitting to Salesforce actually using a REST API actually, so ideally the request should be looking like this actually. So it will create something like composite request in the header. Request, and then whatever with this data is there. So this particular thing that is handled by Mule connector actually, the Salesforce the composite connector that we have actually. So I have the data, yeah. So I can show you. I can have one data. Like, no, I don't have. So basically, the parent will be the composite. The parent element will be the composite request, and internally it will Mule is doing the transformation actually. So using the composite request. So it will create a request with the composite element, the header, and it will send it to Salesforce. Yeah. So yeah, so this reference ID, the thing is like so as you see my request carefully, this I have used a get method as well, and the reference ID I have given as new account info. So basically, if I open this response, the response that I have received, so this is the response for the patch method that I'm invoking. For this one, I got success as HTTPS code as 204. The reference ID you can see, this is ref account. For the patch method, this is the custom is like response that Salesforce sent. Now, for the GET response that I'm using, so why I'm using the GET method? Because I have to fetch the ID that is dependent upon the account ID that I am sending into for the contact actually. So I am using the new account info as the reference ID, and I am putting into the account ID element in the contact. So if I go there, so I have for the GET method that I am using it for the GET method for the account, I am getting the response as ID as 00046. So what it will do? So it will send the data. So it will send in the means like mule itself means like it's implicitly it's doing means like set the data actually. So we don't have to depend upon means like first we have to observe the account object, and then we have to get a response, and then we have to means like pass the response to the Salesforce and fetch the ID, and then again we have to create the request for the contact, and after that we have to put the ID into that particular contact request, and again we have to send it to Salesforce means for using the contact. So in the single go actually, this is just in a single go is doing that actually. So we don't have to wait for the account response, and then we have to means like fetch the ID, and then we have to send it to contact. So it's for that is the advantage means like we it is doing by Mule and Salesforce. So it's able, if Salesforce has the ability to send it the data in the single go. So for this GET, we have the HTTP status code as 200. So for the GET, it will say it will show all the data. It will send all the data actually, and yeah, and for the again, if you see here, the reference ID is ref contact. For this one, this is a patch method for which the HTTP status code is 204, and it has provided the reference ID as ref contact. So yeah, so that's the thing, and this is the GET response for the contact, and it has been updated there actually in the Salesforce. So we have that, you see the last name and the first name that we have offsetted actually. So and it has the account ID. So it has the account ID definition there as well. So yeah, so
Basically, it reduces the number of calls to Salesforce. Instead of multiple calls, everything can happen in a single go.
Yeah, so that is, so we means like as a personally, I have seen that means like we are using this. I have seen a lots of means like it's a massive difference in the performance as well actually. So that's why I was saying like just check the response time actually. Though it is so PY means like I'm using the network means like in the local network actually. So it's taking like 6 to 7 milliseconds actually. So now. Okay, so so this one, the ID that for the account we have got this ID. So if you see the response of the contact actually, so account ID has this reference actually. So for this particular account, the contact has been updated. So same thing has been updated in the Salesforce as well. So we have only one account that is related to this contact, and its data has been updated there. So that is means, and also means like the flow looks very simple actually. Means like I'm just doing one connector when I'm doing one transformation, and I am sending it to Salesforce. Means like it's a very simple, and so though means like for the data week means like if there is like 25 object or 100 object, or some few things we have to means like heavy lifting we have to do in the data view, but that is means like achievable, means like that is will not create some other problem actually, because we are dealing with the 5 billion data every day actually, we can say means like, and it is the performance is very means like we have compared the performance that we are using the single that Salesforce configuration that we had the basic authentication. We have seen the difference, that there is a huge difference in the performance as well using this Compete actually. So so anyone has any question?
Can you throw some insight on the rollback strategy and the other option?
Yeah,
You were
yeah, rollback, yeah, rollback I can do it. Suppose for example, let me put it like this: all or none is true. So if yeah, all or none has been true there, so let me update that. So suppose, let's say, suppose take example of EID, and let me change to mule actually. So but I don't have the mule account here, and I think it's every data will be rolled back, because it's I'm giving the reference ID of I'm not changing the, in the get method I'm not changing the EID actually, the Rajiv, the account name, the Rajiv, it's remain the Rajiv, but in the parent what I'm doing, I'm just making the changes to EID as mule. So let me hit it. Let's see. 1 second. Yeah, actually it means like I have used the patch, so it is used for the for the upsert as well as the insert. So the mule account is not there, so it has created the mule account, but it has not rolled back. So what I can do, I can just make some, suppose if I can make some changes like name 667, and just let me hit it. So transaction has been rolled back, so there is no such column name 677 actually. So whole process has been rolled back actually. So this is the what you are going to get in the response.
What if you did not change the name? So you changed the name and then it rolled back, but before that it did not roll back, right?
Yeah, because I am using the patch. So and so method patch, what it will do, it will just upsert or it will insert actually. So if the data is not there, it will create that data in the view. So that is what it has done actually. So if you see in the Salesforce, it has created the account new, and it has another account Rajiv. So if I go back to the contact object, and if I click on the mule, so mule doesn't has the contact object, right? So if you see this, because for the contact I have given the EID as Rajiv, and I have given the reference ID of the Rajiv account. So though the mule account has been created, but the contact is not created actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, so basically you can mix like it's you can change the URL and mix the method as well, so you can create it or you can do the, so basically it will roll back, means like it will just it will roll back whole the process actually. If it is true, then it will roll back whole process actually within the transaction.
So if we uncheck the rollback, then if the key name is name 677, then the transaction will be successful, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I uncheck, let me do that. Yeah, so I have unchecked it, and so see for this particular account, because the name field is not there, so it has been a failure one, but for other one I got the success. So if I go to the Salesforce, So mule account doesn't have the name 667. So it has been showing me the error that it has been invalid field. For the for the contact, I have just changed the title. So let's see. Let's go to the Rajiv. So let's click on the contact. So see, the title has been changed for the Mr. Yeah. So that is the functionality of the rollback actually. So yeah.
Okay. And also we have another question from Gokul Bijayan. So he's asking, does the connector support Salesforce graphs, which is part of Salesforce composite APIs?
Yeah. Salesforce graphs in the sense for which? Can you please elaborate? Is like
Gokul, can you please elaborate?
So where is the chat box? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, so Salesforce graphs, no, Salesforce graphs is not supported in this composite connector. So we have the few memes, like if we have the few operation that is defined here. So if you see that we can use this particular. So right now it doesn't support the Salesforce graph. So but you can use Salesforce graph. You can use the S object tree that will be helpful for me, is like using that. So but using the connector right now it doesn't support actually. So yeah, so that is for the complete one. So I can show you, I have created one particular request as well using the simple Salesforce. So any question, anything, should I go ahead? Proceed ahead?
Yeah, they will ping in the chat and I will let you know the question. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah, so think about that. Think about using the basic that authentication that we have for the using the Salesforce connector. So I have the request, like I have created one XML request that is that will have the account name, the EID, and the contact where contact is depend upon the account. So we're using the simplified that Salesforce connector that we have in the Mule. So what I did actually, so I have the account, so I created the transformation. I'm doing the transformation for the account, and then I am upserting the Salesforce account using the basic authentication. So I have defined the EID and the C. So clearly, first of all, you can see like there's so many things actually I have to do it, like, and then I'm grabbing the request response from the Salesforce, and then I'm putting into the contact request, and then again I'm using the Salesforce connector. So within this two particular object, I have to use I have to call 2 times actually Salesforce actually. So for account and as well as for the contact actually. So so it's a lots of works, like it's lots of things that we have to do it using the simple connector actually, simple connector. So if I now hit it actually, so let me clear it and let me start actually 1 second.
So in the meantime, Rajiv, there's another question. It says, I have a base for demo accounts. How can I get the consumer key and secret? Say, for example, I want to replicate this demo myself.
Yeah, so you can go to the, so let me search. I have done the Google actually, so let me go. So you can go to the service that Salesforce console. 1 second. I'm not familiar with the Salesforce actually, but using the Googling I can find it. It's like let me see. I can try it again. Let me the developer Salesforce. So it has the option there actually. So right now where it is. So if I go to the object, so yeah, but currently I'm not remember that means like so I have done the googling and means like because it will be there means like when you are creating a simple account for in the Salesforce, you can directly you can go to that account object and you can just grab the that security, that token, the consumer secret and everything. So everything is there actually. So okay. So yeah, right now I don't remember. It's like you can, but you can just click on the account. We can get it actually. Sorry for that. Yeah, that's yeah, connected app. Yeah, that's Google. Yeah, thanks Google. Yeah, so let's go with the common that the connector that we have. So first of all, the flow is the different one. The frequency that there are so many things that I have to do in the flow. Means like I have to create the account request, and then I have to upsert to the Salesforce using the Salesforce connector, the basic authentication and all. And then again we are grabbing the response for the account or response that I have received and sending it to and putting the ID into the contact request, and again I have to call it to the Salesforce. So if I hit that, let me hit in the CFSOAP UI. So it's taking lots of time actually. So if clearly you can see, like it's a simple thing. So so I got a success that is for the contact only. Means this is a response that I have used is for the contact only. So and if you see the response time actually 9087 milliseconds for the complete request, I was getting like 218, means like something like that actually. So it's there's too much difference actually. You see, if I hit it again, 3587. So it's so you can clearly see the performance wise. It's like it's totally ad hoc something. Means like we have to do some extra work. Means like creating the account request, and then so I just given the example of 2 objects. So suppose example there are like 7 or 8 objects are there. So and each object are dependent upon each other. So in that case means like so many transformation we have to do actually, and then there is some number, so many hits to the Salesforce, and it comes with the cost actually. So whatever means like we are whenever we are hitting to Salesforce. So that is the basic differences between the why we should be going. Means I personally feel means like we should go with the complete connector. Means like it save our time, it save our means like we can in the single go we can hit Salesforce. It save our cost as well, and also the performance wise is much better. So coming back to the means like advantages, means like why should we going to use that. So as you can see means like it's reducing the processing time and number of API call. And in the above example that I have seen is like I have shown you that it's the interaction is happening within the one call, so the round trip execution time much shorter than compared to individual call. So if you see means compare, if you see the both of the I mean the requests that I have created, one for the complete and other one for the individual request that I have I'm sending it to Salesforce. So if you see that there's a lots of difference with the timing actually. So other thing is like offers the ability to create a collection of nested parent-child records. So if we suppose, for example, we have like as I said, like we have if we have like 5 or 6 objects and each object are dependent upon each other. In that case, it's like for the using a component that will be much more easier. We can just give it the reference ID and we can execute in the single go. So yeah, so other thing like enables a user to execute dependent request in a single API call. for example, means like use the connector to invoke a single composite resource that creates an account and retrieves information to use it to create a contact. So there's the same thing actually. So I have created an account, and then I'm upsetting the contact object based on that EID that I have. So yeah, so yeah, that's all from me. Means like that's all. Means I will recommend, means like if you can use this one, and you will able to see the differences actually. So just use that, and you can use the S object tree, you can use the S object collection, the batch operation that we have, the composite that execute composite operation that we can use there. So use that, and you can feel the differences actually. So yeah, Alexa, that's all I have. Yeah, thank you for